Can you still succeed on YouTube in 2025? Or has it become just a rat race?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Sometimes it really feels like the latter. You know,
Yeah.
you scroll through and it's just this endless tidal wave of videos.
It's a lot. Absolutely.
You put something out there, something you've worked hard on, and it can feel like it just vanishes, poof, into the void.
Yeah, that feeling of shouting into the void, a lot of creators are feeling that. The way content actually reaches people, it's shifted quite a bit.
How so?
Well, it's not as simple anymore as just, your subscribers seeing your new video pop up in their feed.
Exactly. I remember when hitting a subscriber milestone felt like this huge deal. Like, okay, now I have a direct line to these people who want my stuff.
Right, that direct connection.
But now, it feels like those numbers, those subscriber counts, they don't carry the same weight somehow.
They don't always translate directly to views in the way they perhaps used to.
Yeah, you might get a spike in views from people you've never seen before, which is cool, I guess, for reach.
Discovery is powerful for sure.
Yeah. But then those loyal fans, the ones who actually subscribed, it feels harder to connect with them consistently. Is that just me?
No, not at all. Platforms like TikTok really blew the doors open on this idea of algorithmic discovery.
The For You page effect.
Exactly. Where the platform serves you content it thinks you'll like, regardless of who you follow. And YouTube, well, especially with Shorts, has definitely moved strongly in that direction.
Okay, so the upside is you can reach way more people, potentially.
Huge potential reach, yeah.
But the downside,
Yeah.
you pour your heart into something you think your core people will really love, and maybe it just doesn't get shown to them.
That can happen. The algorithm is optimizing for watch time, engagement signals. Sometimes that means prioritizing showing content to new audiences over existing subscribers.
It makes you wonder if we're not just, I don't know, sort of lending our creations to these platforms.
Lending them. How do you mean?
Like, we make the stuff, give it to YouTube or TikTok, and then just hope they decide to show it to the right people. We don't really own that audience relationship directly anymore.
That's a really insightful way to put it. Lending versus owning that connection. It touches on a key tension.
Yeah?
Well, discovery isn't inherently bad, right?
Yeah.
Reaching new people is vital for growth, but you need a balance
A balance between discovery and community.
between that broad discovery and the ability to reliably reach your core fans, the people who've actively chosen to follow you. That's often what builds a lasting foundation, a sustainable thing.
It almost feels like we're kind of going back to old school TV in a way.
Oh, how so?
Like the network deciding what gets prime time, what gets shown, except now there are millions of channels.
There are definitely parallels in terms of the platform holding significant sway over what gets seen, but the power dynamic is still different.
Different how?
Well, individual creators now have production tools, distribution platforms, capabilities that were just unimaginable back in the broadcast era. You're not just relying on a few gatekeepers in the same way.
Okay, fair point. So the old playbook, get loads of subscribers and you're set. That's not really the game anymore.
It's much more nuanced now.
So what are the key things creators should be focusing on in, say, 2025 to actually get discovered and, build something meaningful?
Well, like we said, the way new viewers often find you first has changed. Short-form video is huge now as an entry point.
Like shorts, reels, TikToks.
Exactly. Think of them like, going into a record store, maybe like Amoeba Records, and flipping through the bargain bins. A quick taste.
Right. Those short, punchy videos. They're great for grabbing attention in that endless scroll. Easy to consume.
Super effective for that initial awareness, casting a wide net.
But it's interesting, isn't it? People might watch a lot of them, but the value they attach seems different.
Different how?
Compared to when someone sits down and invests like 20 minutes, half an hour, even an hour in a longer video or a podcast.
Yeah. There's definitely a difference in perceived value and often willingness to pay or support directly.
So people might watch tons of shorts, but maybe they're less likely to, say, buy merch from that creator or join their Patreon.
That tends to be the case. Short form is fantastic for reach, for that initial hello, but long form content. That's often where you really forge the deeper connection.
Makes sense. More time, more depth.
Yeah, it allows for more storytelling, more nuance, showing your personality. And that builds familiarity, trust, which often leads to a stronger fandom.
And maybe a greater willingness for those fans to support your work financially.
Exactly. Memberships, products, courses, whatever it might be.
It's fascinating that we're seeing this explosion of both super short stuff and really long-form things like podcasts booming at the same time.
It is, isn't it? It's just audiences want both. That quick hit sometimes.
And other times they want to really immerse themselves.
Right. Settle in with a creator they trust or a topic they're really interested in. Long form satisfies that desire for more sustained engagement. If someone gives you an hour of their time, they're likely more invested.
Okay, so if subscriber counts aren't the be-all and end-all, what should creators be looking at? Are those big numbers just vanity metrics now?
The term vanity metrics gets thrown around a lot.
Right.
And, well, yeah, a high follower count doesn't automatically mean you have an engaged audience or a working business model.
So it looks good, but might not mean much underneath.
It can still be useful, maybe for certain brand deals or just social proof, but it absolutely doesn't give you the full picture. What's way more telling is how people are actually interacting.
Like, are they watching? For how long?
Exactly. Average view duration, audience retention graphs, those tell you so much more about what's actually resonating.
If people click off after 10 seconds.
That's a clear signal something's not holding their attention. But high retention, even on a video that maybe didn't get 1 million clicks initially.
That suggests the people who did watch really valued it.
Precisely. That's a valuable connection. And other things too, like where is your traffic even coming from? Search, suggested, external links, that helps shape strategy.
It feels like there are two jobs here. There's the creative part, making the video, the thing you love.
The art.
Yeah. And then there's this whole other layer of understanding the platform, the strategy, the algorithm game.
It can definitely feel like wearing two hats, or maybe more.
And the top creators, they seem to really get that second part right, the game theory of it all.
Many of them do, yes. They understand platform dynamics. It's often not just luck. There's strategic thinking behind titles, thumbnails, even how content is structured for discovery.
And that's where it gets tricky, doesn't it?
Mm.
Balancing that strategy with staying true to yourself creatively.
That's the core tension for so many creators.
Because you want to make what you love, but you also feel this pressure maybe to chase trends or make stuff just because you think the algorithm will like it.
Mhm. I saw a stat somewhere, something like over 70, maybe close to 80% of creators feel like algorithms dictate their creative choices.
Wow. That's kind of disheartening, actually.
It is, and that constant chase, that pressure, it can really lead to burnout.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're just making stuff to feed the machine, it probably sucks the joy out of it pretty quick.
And ultimately, it might even impact the quality. It becomes reactive rather than proactive creation.
So is there a better way, a more sustainable path? Maybe just focusing on making what you genuinely like, developing your own taste, and trusting that an audience will find you.
There's a very strong argument for that. Playing the long game.
Even if it means slower growth at the start.
Potentially, yes. But by consistently creating stuff that aligns with your authentic taste and values, you're more likely to attract an audience that genuinely connects with you and your specific perspective.
A more engaged, loyal audience in the long run.
That's the idea. The community you build might be smaller initially, but potentially much stronger and more supportive.
But you still have to be prepared for those times when you pour everything into a video you love and it just doesn't land. Algorithmically, I mean.
Absolutely. There's always going to be an element of unpredictability. The algorithm giveth and the algorithm taketh away sometimes.
Yeah.
That's where having that long-term perspective is so crucial. Think of each video not in isolation, but as one piece of a larger portfolio you're building over, say, 10 years.
A body of work.
Exactly. Some pieces will resonate more widely. Others might connect deeply with a smaller group. But the cumulative effect matters. It also helps you avoid building this huge, high-overhead business that's totally dependent on every single video popping off.
Right, it builds something more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that seems to help with that consistency and building loyalty is having, like, a regular format, something people can rely on.
Oh, formats can be incredibly powerful, yeah.
Like a Song a Week challenge or a specific review style or a weekly Q&A.
Things like that create expectation. Your audience knows what they're getting and when. It also really helps the algorithm understand what your channel is about. Signals consistency.
It does feel like channels are becoming less like random variety shows and more like individual-focused shows.
That's a great way to put it. A clear format helps carve out your niche, makes it easier for viewers to become regulars, to feel like part of something.
Builds community.
Exactly. Now, some creators definitely thrive on pure variety and personality, more bespoke content. It's not the only way.
But consistency in some form seems important.
Generally, yes, whether it's format, schedule, or just thematic consistency.
Okay, so we can't just rely on YouTube to magically find our audience and keep them.
Yeah.
We need to be more proactive, build direct connections maybe. How do creators actually make a sustainable career now?
That's where the broader creator economy comes in. There's a much greater understanding now and willingness from fans to support creators directly.
Beyond just watching ads?
Way beyond ads. We're talking digital products, merchandise, online courses, workshops, fan clubs, even live events, virtual or real world.
I've seen more creators doing things like free memberships on their channel or other platforms. What's the thinking there? Is that a funnel?
It can be, yeah. Offering a free membership tier is a great way to identify and gather your most engaged fans. It's a step beyond just subscribing.
So they raise their hand, basically.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Kind of. It builds a core community list, people you can communicate with more directly, maybe offer exclusive updates or perks to. And yes, potentially they might be more inclined to support paid offerings down the line.
So diversifying how you actually make money seems pretty critical.
Oh, absolutely crucial for resilience. Don't put all your eggs in the AdSense basket or any single basket.
Because platform payouts can change, algorithm shifts can hit views.
Exactly. Having multiple streams, maybe ads, plus memberships, plus merch, plus sponsored content, plus maybe a course provides a much more stable foundation. If one area dips, the others can support you.
Look at established creators. Many have fingers in lots of pies.
Live shows, books, consulting, speaking gigs. It can branch out in many ways depending on the creator and their audience.
And it all comes back to knowing your audience, right? What do they actually value enough to potentially pay for?
Precisely. Not everyone wants the same thing. Some fans just want to watch the free content, and that's totally fine. Others might buy a t-shirt. A smaller group might pay for a premium course or a community membership.
So you need different offerings for different levels of fandom.
Tailoring makes a lot of sense, understanding that fan journey.
You know, talking through all this strategy, it feels like a lot of it still boils down to some pretty basic, almost timeless principles of like connecting with people.
You're absolutely right. There are some core rules that haven't really changed. Colin and Smear talk about this well.
Yeah, like what?
Rule 1, if they don't click, they don't watch.
Okay, so title and thumbnail are still king. Got to grab that attention.
Still fundamental, whether it's through intrigue, clear value proposition, or just the trust you've built with your audience over time so they click because it's you.
Right. And rule 2.
Respect their time. Once they do click, you have to deliver. Keep them engaged, provide the value you promised, don't waste their attention.
Makes sense. Hook them, then hold them.
Exactly. And the third rule, which is maybe the most important for building beyond just views, is basically asking, do you want more stuff like this?
Ah, okay. Like prompting them to subscribe or watch another video.
That, yes, but also thinking bigger. Does my content overall make someone want to engage more deeply? Does it make them want to join the community, buy the product, support the work?
So you have to earn the right to ask for that deeper engagement or support.
Absolutely. You provide value first, consistently, build that relationship, that trust. You can't just show up and immediately ask for money.
It's like any relationship, really. You build connection before asking for commitment.
That's a great analogy. Nurture it. Free content is often the starting point. Maybe that leads to an email list sign up, then maybe exclusive content, then maybe a paid offering for those who are really invested. That fan journey again.
Which makes me think about the difference between just having an audience versus building a community. Are they the same thing?
Not quite, though they overlap. An audience often implies a more one-way relationship. People consume your content.
Passive consumption?
Largely, yeah. A community implies more interaction, a sense of belonging, maybe shared values or inside jokes. It's more two-way.
Like creators who have active Discord servers or do regular live streams where they interact or even organize meetups.
Exactly. Those kinds of things foster genuine connection and loyalty that goes beyond just watching the next video upload. Think about creators hosting coffee meetups or film screenings. That builds real bonds.
And probably leads to much more sustained support over the long haul.
Often, yes. Deeper connections usually mean stronger loyalty.
Right.
But it's also true that not every creator is cut out for community management or wants that level of interaction. And some audiences don't expect it either.
So you could be successful just building a large audience without necessarily fostering a tight-knit community.
Absolutely. Both approaches can work. It depends on the creator's personality, the niche, the type of content, audience expectations.
Okay. Looking ahead, We can't really ignore AI, can we? It seems to be changing everything. How does that factor into being a creator in 2025?
Yeah, AI is the elephant in the room, or maybe the incredibly fast-learning robot in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
The advancements in AI-powered creative tools, video editing, image generation, music composition, writing assistance, they're genuinely staggering.
Making things easier, faster?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's lowering the barrier to entry significantly. An individual creator might soon be able to produce incredibly high-quality work, stuff that used to require big teams or expensive software or deep technical skills,
So the focus might shift. Less on how well you can execute technically.
and more on the quality of the idea, the story, the perspective, the creativity itself. Execution might become more democratized.
But then there's the flip side.
Yeah.
The worry that AI could just replace human creators, generate infinite content.
That's a valid concern, and there are huge ethical and legal questions being debated right now about training data, copyright, compensation.
Yeah, it's messy.
It is. But I tend to think that the human element, authenticity, lived experience, genuine connection, unique taste, will remain incredibly valuable, maybe even more valuable, in a sea of potentially generic AI content.
So AI becomes a tool, maybe,
Oh.
augmenting creativity rather than replacing it entirely.
That's my hope, and I think the likely path for many. We'll see systems evolve, hopefully, to ensure creators are credited and compensated fairly when their work contributes to AI models. But the exciting part is
What's that?
the potential for a whole new wave of creators, people with amazing stories or ideas who maybe lacked the technical means before. AI could unlock so much latent creativity.
Interesting perspective. You know, amidst all this talk about strategy, algorithms, AI, it strikes me that maybe the most crucial thing is just actually enjoying the process.
Oh, 100%. If you don't find some joy in it, it's going to be an incredibly tough slog.
Why is that so important?
Well, there's this psychological concept, autotelic behavior. It basically means doing something for the inherent enjoyment of the activity itself, not just for the external rewards like views or money.
Doing it for the love of the game, basically.
Exactly. Finding parts of the creation process, the writing, the filming, the editing, the interacting that you genuinely find rewarding in themselves, that intrinsic motivation. That's what fuels long-term sustainability.
Because the external rewards, the views, the money, they can fluctuate wildly.
They absolutely can. If your only motivation is those external things, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and burnout when they inevitably dip. But if you genuinely enjoy the act of creating,
You're more likely to keep going through the tough time.
precisely. Think of, Van Gogh painting obsessively with almost no recognition during his lifetime. He clearly had an autotelic drive. That love for the craft itself is what provides resilience.
So it's worth asking yourself honestly, do I actually like making this stuff? Even if nobody watches the next video.
It's a fundamental question for anyone wanting to do this long term.
Okay, so wrapping this up, thinking about making it on YouTube or just being a creator online in 2025, what's the big picture takeaway?
It's undoubtedly a dynamic, changing landscape. The rules evolve, but honestly, it's probably the best time in history to be a creative person with something to say.
Because the tools are accessible, the potential reach is global.
Exactly. The core principles still matter. Create stuff you're proud of, provide real value, understand how platforms work, but don't let them solely dictate your vision. Focus on building genuine connections with the people who resonate with your work.
And find that joy in the process.
And find the joy. Embrace the tools, be adaptable, play the long game. The internet will keep changing, but creativity and connection will always matter.
So back to the first question. Can you still succeed on YouTube in 2025? It sounds like the answer is yes, definitely. But maybe success looks different now.
It requires a more nuanced approach, for sure. Less about just chasing raw numbers.
And more about building something meaningful, sustainable, building real relationships, exploring different ways to connect, maybe diversifying.
And staying true to that core creative impulse.
Yeah, it really makes you think. What aspects of creating do you, the listener, find intrinsically rewarding? How can you build more direct connections with the people who truly value what you do? Lots to consider.
See you soon.